to welcome 2015 FedEx Cup champion Jordan Spieth into the interview room. Jordan, your game is obviously in a good spot. You're number 2 in the FedEx Cup standings. Just talk about how important it is to be in the top 5 in the standings with 2 more events before the Tour Championship.
It's vital. It allows you to control your own destiny. This week for me is really just about playing the Deutsche Bank. I'm not thinking much about the FedEx Cup. There's not a whole lot I can do for myself at this point other than if I could take care of business here, you jump 1 spot. So I think with the second place points, I essentially got enough points that would be equivalent to 2 regular season wins, something like that, which puts me at over 5 on the year and puts me in a position where I see myself. I can drop to number 5 within the next couple weeks, which isn't exactly where you want to be, but likely to stay in the top 5, which is a really good feeling, and it takes a lot of any added pressure off of these next couple events. So I'm just trying to play the Dell Championship here just strictly for the tournament and not really thinking much about the FedEx Cup this week.
All right, we'll open up for some questions right here in the front.
Kevin Walsh, NBC Boston. Last week, are you over it? And if you are, how long did it take?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I went up against another guy I consider the best in the world, and we had a good battle, and it went his way. I think there's a couple times he's battled against me, he wished it went his way, and this is one that I wish went my way. So in the course of a career, be a part of a few battles like that, and I've seemed to, the only 2 guys I've really battled a lot with are Henrik and Dustin, guys multiple times I've battled with. So I was over it that night. I was in a good position to win, and certainly in a good position through the beginning of the round. But tournaments take place over 72 or sometimes 73 holes, and whoever has the lower score wins. So it's hard on a tough golf course to compete with 5 birdies and no bogeys. I think we did a really good job coming down the stretch of giving myself opportunities, and a couple putts just didn't go.
Can I just follow up? Do you enjoy coming to the Boston area for things other than the golf, the food, the culture, the land, the experience?
Well, this is one of the only areas I ever come to outside of golf other than home, and the reason being my brother went to school in Providence for 4 years, so I didn't really spend much time in Boston other than flying into there and training down or whatever. But in this New England area, I've really much enjoyed it for the food, the atmosphere, the people. Real passionate sports fans up here. They've been pretty fortunate in some serious success over the last decade too, which I'm jealous of. But yeah, love coming up here. The off the course stuff. It's a couple of the best restaurants we eat at all year this week, and have a good time for sure.
Bill Doyle, Worcester Telegram. Obviously, there's a lot of great golfers out here, but do you consider Dennis Johnson to be your chief rival? And can you just, I'm sorry, Dustin Johnson, your chief rival, and can you just talk about your rivalry with him and your relationship with him?
I think there's still a very, very much alive Player of the Year race this year. I think it's 4 guys, in my opinion, with Justin Thomas and myself and Dustin and Hideki. The race is alive. It kind of depends on who wins the FedEx Cup out of the bunch. Probably takes that prize. So as far as a rivalry, me and Dustin, no, I don't think there is one. I think here and there you get these questions asked about rivalries, and I've been asked about 5 different players if I have a rivalry with them. So obviously there isn't a rivalry going on. So it's always what has happened recently that creates this. Maybe it's a rivalry scenario, but Dustin's played better golf than anybody over the last 2 years. That's why he's number 1 in the world, and he's somebody. It's a pole position that I'm envious of and would like to get back to, and I'm going to try and work hard to do what I can in the next few weeks to do so. But as far as it just being him, we have a great relationship. I texted him that evening saying, "Man, congrats! That was a good battle. Let's do it again next week." He said, "Absolutely, I had a good time." That was my turn. We understand kind of the battles that we've had with each other, but it's no rivalry. It's just it becomes a stressful fun, if that makes any sense, right? I mean, your heart's beating fast, your adrenaline's rushing, you're trying to win a playoff, a PGA Tour playoff, FedEx Cup playoff event, and but at the same time, it is exciting to be, in a one-on-one type situation. I mean, the Open Championship, I was in that last week. I was in that. It is fun being in that position, almost like creating a match play scenario out of a big tour event or a major. It's just everybody starts to come to your group, and you just start feeling this energy, and it's really cool.
Go Bernie.
Jordan, despite that sort of excitement and sort of that one-to-one struggle last Sunday, did you learn anything from that sort of situation, that disappointment going forward?
Yeah, again, people keep using the word disappointment. It wasn't a disappointment. It was a great week. Look, I mean, it was a fun battle. I thought everybody enjoyed it. I asked Jay Monahan, what it looked like from the viewership, and he said it was on a regular PGA Tour event. He said it was, as exciting as it could get. It was one of the highest rated events they've had in a while, and that's awesome. It's awesome to be a part of that. So I'm sorry, but it wasn't a disappointment. I don't think of it like that at all. But what do I learn from it? I won the tournament besides the shot I hit in the water on 6. The shot I hit on the water on 6, my ball speed was the fastest ball speed clocked in the last 10 groups on that hole, yet it went the shortest, which just tells me it was a wind gust. So I didn't do anything wrong. My ball speed was faster than Dustin's, who hit right after me, and his carried the water. He chipped to 7, so the spin rate was down, but he had similar wind. But he was able to learn from mine. He wouldn't have hit that club had mine not gone in the water. So I'd really, last week, off of a really good finish, which you can learn from wins and losses, and it being a loss, there really isn't much I can take out of that. I was correcting mistakes that I had made in other losses. I was correcting tendencies and did a great job of it. I really just got kind of unlucky at when we played the 6th hole. And it knocked 2 shots out and brought it from a 5-stroke lead to a 3, which on that course is much more manageable. And from there, I hit some good putts that didn't quite go in, and I hit some good putts that did go in. So I shot, a 1 under round, which was a better than average score that day. And when you're in the lead by 3, typically that's good enough to win.
Let's get these 3 gentlemen right here. They all had
Butch
questions.
Stearns, Boston 25. Jordan, can you talk about your friendship with Tom Brady? Have you heard from him this week, and do you expect to connect with him this week at all?
Yeah, I've been fortunate through Under Armour to have that connection, and we've played some golf together a couple different occasions. We did a mentorship type shoot together in Los Angeles. The first time I met him 3 or 4 years ago, and this week I texted him saying, because I'm planning on going to the game tonight, and so I was just saying, hey, looking forward to kind of seeing the Pats, the last preseason game, and and he texted back offering anything that I needed or whatever, and we're pretty much all set. But other than that, not much this week. But it's cool when during the Open Championship we were texting quite a bit, and there was some social media posts. I was wearing some of his sleepwear, and he was posting they had matching pajamas on. But it seemed to have worked that week for me. It seems to work pretty well for him. So that's not a sell for pajamas, but if you like what we've done, then you might want to go buy some. But he's a tremendous guy to have in your corner. I mean, when he's rooting for you, you feel like you just have. I keep using the word energy, but you really do feel like you have something else when you get guys like him on your side.
Let's get Brian Wacker.
You going to start eating like him too?
Yeah, I have been. I've tried some of his stuff. I know it's good for me. I'm not quite as dialed in on eating as he is. I don't think he was when he was my age either. So, but he's really got it down to a science. It's something he's extremely passionate about. It's not just a sell for him. I mean, he's extremely passionate about this. He had all this stuff at Augusta when all of us were just having some wine, on a fun round, having some wine and a steak and potatoes and he's he shipped all of his stuff into there to have it as snacks and protein powder and all this stuff. So and it's obviously elongating his career and doing well for him. So I'll do whatever he's doing.
Going back to the Player of the Year race, it's obviously ongoing, but sort of curious where you put yourself in that conversation right now, I guess, and where you would kind of rank yourself, if you will.
If the four of us that I mentioned finish 20th here on in, I think it comes between, it's probably Justin's. But I think that, again, it's very much in the air. I mean, he's got 4 wins in a major. A major depends on where everybody, and we're going to have a pretty good taste of where everybody equates World Golf Championship majors, whatever it may be. But if any of the 4 of us were to win the FedEx Cup title, then it's probably a player of the year. But I would put myself in 3rd behind Justin and Dustin. And
secondly, how kind of important is it to you, I guess, in the grand scheme?
Very. It's an MVP. It's an MVP award. You were the best player at what you do at at the highest level. So it's extremely important. It's the most important end of the season award I think you can win.
This is going to be the last question.
Jordan, with the proposed reordering of tournaments for 2019, there's been speculation that this stop may fall by the wayside. Would you be disappointed not coming to Boston, and what do you think of that reordering?
Yeah, sure. I think it's very much up in the air, and I'm pretty involved in it, in the talks with it, and I know it's very much in the air still on if we were to go to a condensed schedule, there's still a chance that we would still move up here every other year or something. So there's still a lot of options available. There's not much set in stone right now. I think a shortened, condensed season ending before football is better for us because it gives us an opportunity to have these end-of-the-season events that are big events for us, our playoff race and our tour championship, and it's not competing with football, and it can significantly help grow the sport. It can bring it to the common sports fan that's going to watch football, which I would as well over golf, right? So it has an opportunity to grow ratings that can certainly help us going forward, and it creates a bit more of an off season for us. So I think it's a win-win for us.
And when you say every other year at this time of the year and in the playoffs, or this is
I mean during the playoffs, I'm not sure. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of speculation still, and I know for a fact nothing's set in stone on if it's going away. This tournament / if it did, would we? I mean, I know that the tour really still wants to come up into this area, and the people up here and the sponsors up here still want to be here as well. So there's going to have to be something to make it work, I think, for us to come up here, which whether it's a every other year, every third year, whatever it may be, scenario or rotation within the playoffs.
One very last quick one in the back, please.
Jordan, the 18th hole here is one of the easiest finishing holes on tour. What's your basic game plan when you come in here to play this hole?
Fairway green 2-putt. I mean, it's actually a good driving distance for me. I can carry the bunkers in the middle of the fairway, and I don't worry too much about it reaching any other trouble. So it kind of forces you into a certain area, and it forces probably a 225-yard shot into a pretty shallow green that you've got to bring in with some height. So it's tough. I've had triumph and failure on the hole, and it is a really good finishing hole that can yield a bogey or an eagle. So the tournament's never over at this event.
Great, Jordan. Thank you. We appreciate it.